Good morning. Myself Priyesh and I am chemistry faculty of TAKSH-SHILA Model Senior Secondary School, Faridabad. Today I am going to start a lecture for class 10th and this is my 6th lecture. And in the previous lecture we have discussed pH scale, classification of any substance according to pH, universal indicators and application of pH in our daily life. And in this lecture we will generally discuss the properties of salts, classification of salts according to their pH value and family of salts. So today we will start the topic salt. So generally what is salt and how salt is formed. So salt is a compound generally obtained when metal dissolve in acid to replace the hydrogen ions, or salt is formed when acid combines with base. For example, sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is a salt generally known as common salt, and the chemical formula of sodium chloride is NaCl. So the sodium chloride is generally obtained when we add sodium metal in hydrochloric acids. This sodium metal generally replace the position of hydrogen and take their positions and becomes 2NaCl with the release of hydrogen gas. So this is the sodium chloride, which is generally obtained when sodium metal generally dissolve in any acid. In case of sodium chloride, sodium generally dissolve in case of hydrochloric acids. Some examples are also in which metal generally not replace the position of hydrogens. For example, ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride, which is also a salt having formula ammonium NH4Cl, and this ammonium chloride generally replace in ammonium chloride generally ammonium ions replace the position of hydrogen ions when dissolved in hydrochloric acids. So it is not compulsory that only metal replace the position of hydrogens. Any ions may also replace the position of ions and they will form a any salts. तो ये तो समझ में आ गया कि सॉल्ट जनरली क्या होते हैं. सॉल्ट क्या होता है, जब कोई भी मेटल्स किसी एसिड में डिजॉल्व करते हैं देन उसके बाद क्या करेगा, वो हाइड्रोजन आयन को रिप्लेस करेगा और उसके बाद जो कंपाउंड बनेंगे उनको हम क्या बोलेंगे, सॉल्ट बोलेंगे. एक्सेप्शनली इन अमोनियम क्लोराइड जनरली कौन सा आयन रिप्लेस करता है, अमोनियम आयंस. किसको रिप्लेस करता है, हाइड्रोजन्स को. दे विल फॉर्म अमोनियम क्लोराइड्स. सो द वन वे to formation of any salts to dissolve metal in any acids. Another method to obtain salt is generally when acids react with base to form salts. जब acid and base react to each other, they generally form a compound with the release of water known as salts. For example, when NaH react with HCl, they will form NaCl and water. So for the formation of sodium chloride, generally base sodium hydrochloric acids and sodium hydroxides and acids hydrochloric acids combine to form salt and waters. Okay, तो सॉल्ट्स कैसे बन सकता है, जब एसिड किससे रिएक्शन करता है, बेस, या बेस किससे रिएक्शन करता है, एसिड से, तो क्या बनेगा सॉल्ट, एंड कंपल्सरी है क्या बनेगा हमारा, वाटर तो बनेगा ही बनेगा. ओके, सो एनी सॉल्ट्स contain, in name of any salts containing two parts, one from obtained from base and another obtained from acids, and the first name always obtained from base and the second part always obtained from any acids. For examples, in case of sodium chloride, sodium and chlorides. So in case of sodium chloride, first is Na and second is Cl. So this Na is first come from base, that is ammonium hydroxides, and second part Cl obtained from acids, example HCl. So any salts having two parts, the first part always comes first from base and second part always comes from an acid. Take another example. Sodium sulfate having chemical formula Na2SO4, and sodium sulfate generally obtained when sodium hydroxides react with hydrochloric acid to form Na2SO4 plus H2O. So in case of sodium sulfate, the first sodium obtained from base, that is NaOH, and second part sulfate comes from an acids, that is H2SO4. So any salts, in name of any salts, generally two parts will be, the first part from base and the second part from acids, and when they will combine to give the name of a given salts. Okay, next, formula of salt, some formula of salts. So for example, sodium chloride having chemical formula NaCl. Second one is sodium sulfate having chemical formula Na2SO4. Next one is potassium chloride having formula KCl. Next one is magnesium sulfate having chemical formula MgS4, and so on. Take another example like aluminium sulfate having chemical formula Al2SO4 thrice. Al2SO4 thrice. This formula generally obtained because sulfate having -2 charge and aluminium having valency +3. So in cross multiplication they becomes neutral. So the chemical formula of aluminium sulfate is Al2SO4 thrice and so on. So तो ये क्या तुम्हारे कुछ कॉमन सॉल्ट थे एंड उनके क्या था केमिकल फार्मूला था. कॉमन सॉल्ट, सॉरी, कॉमन सॉल्ट एक कॉमन वर्ड है जो इसके लिए किसके लिए यूज करते हैं, सोडियम क्लोराइड्स. यहाँ पे कॉमन का मतलब विच जनरली यूज्ड इन डेली लाइफ और विच इज जनरली वेरी लार्ज इन डेली लाइफ. नेक्स्ट वन इज family of salts. So family of salts generally means two or more salts may be of same family when their charge in common. For example, they must have same positive charge or they must have same negative charge, then they will belongs to same family. किसी भी salts के दो parts होते हैं, anions and cations, positive charge and negative charge. अगर उनका positive charge या negative charge same match करता है then they will belongs to same family. For example, sodium chloride having formula NaCl and here positive charge Na and negative charge Cl. In case of sodium sulfate having chemical formula Na2SO4, in this case the same charge on both sodium atoms and the negative charge different in two different salts. In case of NaCl, negative charge present on Cl, and in case of sodium sulfate, negative charge present on sulfate. But the positive charge generally present on the same element sodium, so they will belong to same family. In case of common negative ions, sodium hydroxides and potassium hydroxides. The chemical formula of sodium hydroxides is NaOH and potassium hydroxides is KOH. Here the positive charge on potassium, and in case of sodium chloride, positive charge sodium, but the negative charge in both compound present on hydroxides ions. So in these two molecules, the negative charge generally present on the same molecules, that is on sodium hydroxides. Okay, something mistake in this. This is not a salt, it is generally base. Sorry, take example. Take example, sodium chloride having formula NaCl, and second one potassium chloride having chemical formula KCl. In this case, negative charge present on chloride ion, but positive charge in case of sodium chloride present on sodium, and negative, and in case of potassium chloride positive charge present on potassium. So in these two salts, the negative charge generally present on same chloride ions, so these two salts will belongs to same family. Okay, so it is the nature of family. Next one is properties of salts. There are so many properties of salts, and most of them are it is found in solid states. Most of the salts generally present in the form of solids, because generally salts contain two parts, positive and negative, and due to the strong force of attraction it is generally present in solid states. क्लियर? यहाँ पे दो चार्ज होते हैं, पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव, एंड अपोजिट चार्ज में क्या होता है? अट्रैक्शन, और इसमें कौन सा फोर्स लगता है? इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक फोर्स, एंड ड्यू टू द प्रेजेंस ऑफ इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक फोर्स जनरली सॉल्ट्स आर प्रेजेंट इन सॉलिड्स states. Second one is they have high boiling points. Generally salts have high boiling point because in solids because salts present in the solid states, because in salts there is a strong force of interaction between the ions, so it is difficult to convert solid into vapor, so its boiling point generally क्या होता है? हाई होता है. क्लियर है? सॉल्ट्स में जनरली कौन सा फोर्स होता है? इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक फोर्स होता है, विच इज वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग, एंड ड्यू टू द प्रेजेंस ऑफ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक फोर्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट होता है किसी भी सॉलिड को किसमें कन्वर्ट करना? वेपर में, इसलिए इनकी बॉइलिंग पॉइंट जनरली क्या होती है? हाई होती है. थर्ड वन इज it is good conductor of electricity. Generally salts are good conductor of electricity. For example, NaCl, when dissolved in water they break down into Na positive and Cl negative. So when any salt dissolve in water they split into their corresponding ions, and due to the presence of ions it is the source of electricity, or the conductivity of any salts generally becomes large when any salts dissolve in their solution, because the number of ions generally increases. क्लियर? किसी भी सॉल्ट को जब हम वाटर में डालते हैं देन होता क्या है कि वो सॉल्ट्स अपने आयंस में ब्रेक हो जाता है, और आयंस में ब्रेक होने के कारण उसके नंबर ऑफ आयंस बढ़ जाते हैं, और नंबर ऑफ आयंस बढ़ने के कारण क्या होता है? उसकी कंडक्टिविटी बढ़ जाती है. तो ये भी क्या है? एक प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ सॉल्ट्स है. सो द वन प्रॉपर्टी इट इज जनरली फाउंड इन सॉलिड स्टेट्स. सेकेंड, दे हैव हाई बॉइलिंग पॉइंट और मेल्टिंग पॉइंट्स, एंड इट इज गुड कंडक्टर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, और इट बिहेव्स लाइक एन इलेक्ट्रोलाइट्स. क्यों? क्योंकि क्या होता है? ये आयंस में टूटते हैं, और आयंस में टूटने के कारण क्या होता है? इसकी कंडक्टिविटी इंक्रीज कर जाती है. So the next topic for today is pH of salt solution. pH of salts solutions. Or salt generally not a neutral. It may be neutral, it may be acidic, or it may be a basic. Generally depends the combination of salts. Salt generally क्या हो सकता है? एसिडिक भी हो सकता है, बेसिक भी हो सकता है, और न्यूट्रल भी हो सकता है. डिपेंड करता है कि वो सॉल्ट कॉम्बिनेशन किसका किसका है. सो द सॉल्ट्स मे बी डिवाइडेड इनटू 3 पार्ट्स अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर pH. One is neutral having pH equal to 7, Second one is acidic, having pH is less than 7, and third one is basic, having pH greater than 7. So salts को जनरली हम कितने कैटेगरी में डिवाइड करते हैं? 3. न्यूट्रल, एसिडिक एंड बेसिक. न्यूट्रल हैविंग pH इक्वल टू 7, एसिडिक हैविंग pH लेस देन 7, एंड बेसिक हैविंग pH greater than 7. So for example, when the salt will be neutral, salt will be neutral when a strong acid combined with a strong base. For example, NaCl. NaCl is a neutral salt because its pH is generally 7, and this pH generally 7 because it is a combination of a strong acids like HCl and NaOH. जनरली होता क्या है कि HCl and NaOH दोनों स्ट्रॉन्ग एसिड एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस है. दे जनरली कंप्लीटली आयोनाइज्ड. HCl also completely ionized and NaOH also completely ionized, and they will produce H plus ions and they will produce OH ions in equal amounts. So H positive and OH combines to give back H2O, and H2O having pH 7. इसलिए क्या होता है, इसकी pH क्या होती है? 7 होती है, और ये क्या होता है? न्यूट्रल होता है, और इसमें लिटमस पेपर पे कोई चेंज नहीं होता है. Next one is acidics. So acidic salts are formed when a strong acid plus weak base combine. For example, ammonium chlorides. Ammonium chloride generally pH less than 7 because it is a combination of strong acids and weak base. For example, ammonium chloride generally formed when ammonium hydroxides and HCl are combined. It is weak base and it is strong acids. तो होता क्या है कि ये तो completely ionized हो जाएगा, बट ये क्या होता है? पार्शियली आयनाइज्ड होगा. मतलब नंबर ऑफ हाइड्रोक्सिल आयंस लेस होंगे और नंबर ऑफ हाइड्रोक्लोरिक आयंस क्या होंगे? ज्यादा. तो अगर हाइड्रोक्लोरिक आयंस ज्यादा होंगे तो किसका नेचर होगा? एसिडिक होगा, और ये जनरली कन्वर्ट ब्लू लिटमस इनटू रेड. तो ये क्या होता है? हमारे एसिडिक होते हैं. बेसिक्स आर जनरली फॉर्म्ड व्हेन ए स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस प्लस weak acids are combined. ये जनरली कब होता है? जब strong base और weak acid क्या होते हैं? combines होते हैं. For example, sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate having chemical formula, इसको मैं ऊपर लिख रहा हूं, this parts Na2CO3, and this sodium carbonate generally obtained when NaOH plus carbonic acids are combined. Generally NaOH is a strong base but carbonic acid is a weak base. So NaOH completely ionized and they produce large amount of OH ions, but in case of carbonic acids less amount of hydrogen ions. So in this case the concentration of hydroxyl ions is very large as compared to the concentration of hydrogen ions. So the high concentration of hydroxyl ions Generally, sodium carbonate is in basic in nature and their pH will be more than 7 and it generally convert red litmus into blue. तो ये क्या होता है, हमारे क्लासिफिकेशंस होते हैं किसके, सॉल्ट्स के. 3 according to their pH: neutral, acidic and basic. Neutral, when a strong acid, a strong base. Acidic, a strong acid, weak base. And basic, a strong base and weak acids. So it is the last topic of today. In next class we will meet with the next topic, that is different salts and their properties and uses. And for today class, thank you.